I'm Matt Patten, CEO here at Cutler Investment Group. I frequently get asked, what's it like running a third-generation family business? It is an incredible opportunity to work with people that are passionate on a daily basis. I get to support our clients in their efforts to grow their wealth or have a terrific retirement. If you've worked with us for a long time, you understand what the culture is like here at Cutler. We are a family-first company that is completely committed to our clients. And I am proud to be the steward of that tradition. On a personal note, I have a wife, Diane, and two boys, Spencer and Bradley. I am incredibly happy about the work that my sons have done in life. Both Eagle Scouts, one in college, another on his way, and we love getting outdoors. We camp, we hike, we do the Southern Oregon lifestyle because that's why we moved back. Diane and I met at Boston College as undergraduates, and 25 years later, I managed to bring her to Southern Oregon to enjoy the clean air, the great living, and a terrific place to raise our children. I would encourage you to come see Jacksonville. Why did we move to Southern Oregon? Come visit and see for yourself. We'd love to have you. This month, we're going to be talking about cybersecurity. This is one of a series of events that we have covered. If you go to our website or our YouTube channel, you can look up our other cybersecurity videos for your reference. Why do you care about cybersecurity? Well, cybersecurity threats are certainly getting more significant as time goes by. We also want to spend a minute talking about why it's important and what Cutler's doing to help protect your data, to give you that security that we are looking out for you. And this is a major concern for both us and you. And then just a few things that you can do to protect yourself as you look at what's happening in the world. First and foremost, I want to debunk a myth. Everybody thinks that what you have in the world is senior citizens being taken advantage of. And while that might be the case, if you look at data, it actually will show you that the most frequent group or cohort of those that are falling victim to cybersecurity crimes are 30 to 39-year-olds. Now, they are a larger section, so that does make sense, but 20 to 29-year-olds are also frequent victims of cybersecurity attacks. This is not a senior citizen problem. This is an everybody problem, and one that I hope at the end of this video, you feel a little bit more prepared to deal with. So, what's happening recently? April 8th, 2024, National Public Data, a company out of Florida, was attacked on a cybersecurity attack. 2.9 billion pieces of public data were stolen in that attack from Americans, Canadians, and people in the United Kingdom. That is a lot of information. It includes social security numbers, email addresses, phone numbers. It includes all your financial data, as this company actually was engaged in verifying your information to vendors all over the country. They had the keys to the kingdom. If you think, oh, I've been attacked before, this was the granddaddy of them all. So what do you do if you want to know if you've been in part of this attack, or if you're concerned about what to do? Well, first off, there is a website, it's here on the screen at the bottom, that will show you where you can go to find out if you were in the attack. Even if you weren't, it's probably worth going through some of these next steps. And I will note, when I put myself in, I found it right away. I went to go check for my wife. She actually didn't show living here in Oregon, but when I searched for her in California where she lived before, she did show up. So if you have prior states that you live in, check those as well to make sure, because your Social Security doesn't care what state you live in, they will find you. So after you've checked, you've looked, you found out that you're in there, two things we would like you to do. One, lock your credit accounts. There are 3 credit account agencies here in the US. All 3 can take less than 90 seconds for you to lock your credit account. If you lock it, yes, you're going to have to unlock it when you go buy a car, get a new mortgage, refinance your house, whatever you're doing in the credit world. But I can tell you, if it takes 90 seconds to set up and pause your credit, it doesn't take that long for you to unlock it. And in fact, last week, after discovering that I was part of the attack, I locked my credit, and then my bank called and said, we need to run your credit for the line of credit here at Cutler. I unlocked it for 24 hours. It took all of 15 seconds. The bank processed the credit check, and good news, the line of credit was approved. Second, there are several websites, one of which cloak data deletion is here on the video right now. We would suggest that you go there and look up dark web information and just try to be a little proactive about removing your information. You're not going to get all the information off, but maybe you can make it a little bit harder for criminals trying to use your data for bad. Next, another trend that's happening, AI. You've been hearing about it, you know it's out there, but maybe you haven't thought about how it's being used negatively. One of the ways that we're seeing most frequently right now is in using your voice in order to make people think that they are talking to you. If a criminal calls and listens to your voicemail on your cell phone and they get 3 seconds of your voice, they can replicate your voice to anybody. So think about that case where your grandchild calls you from Mexico to say they've been arrested. You didn't even know your grandchild was in Mexico, but you swear it sounds just like them. They need money right away. You're listening, you're thinking, it's gotta be them, but are they in Mexico? This is a frequent attack. We would suggest, on the list of things that you can do to be prepared for that scenario, have a safe word with your family. You are going to get a call at some point in time that sounds exactly like somebody in your family, one of your loved ones. They might know enough information that they've seen on social media, that they've seen online, that they've been able to drive from your background. So think about that. Another one, if you're working in business, we have examples. $25 million of a Hong Kong company transferred out by a perfunctory employee, sending money that he thought his CEO was asking for. He listened to his CEO who called. It was in conjunction with an email attack, and this money went out undiscovered for months based on an AI fake. We already talked about having a safe word. We talked about urgency. And if they're telling you it's urgent, take a deep breath, think about it. Say, let me call you back on the cell phone number that I have in file. Call their kids and make sure that they're actually in Mexico. There are a lot of steps that you can take and make sure that AI fakes, email fakes, or any of these phishing attacks are not impacting you. So what are some of the things that Cutler does to protect you? First off, we use Microsoft as our email provider. Microsoft has over 10,000 people monitoring 78 trillion pieces of data for spamming. This is also true if you use Gmail and many other providers. In addition, when you call Cutler, we spend time verifying who you are. We've already talked about AI voices, right? Hey, I've called Matt many, many times and he's never asked me this information before. It's important that we verify who you are. So when you call and ask for money, if we ask you information that we think is important to identify you and make sure that you are the person actually asking for the money, know that this is in your best interest. In addition, when we send you information, it will always be encrypted, both when we send it and when it's stored here at the firm. We have links in our emails for you to send information back to us encrypted, and we would encourage you to use that same encryption method when sending information back and forth. And then finally, secure communication channels, whether it is email, whether it's file transfer, whether it's any other form of communication. We make sure that we are using only secure communication channels to work with you on your most important assets that you have here at Cutler. It's not just good enough to be proactive. We also have to assume here at Cutler that attack could happen. So what will we do if an attack does happen at some point in the future? First off, we have policies and procedures and a disaster recovery plan written so that we know what to do when and if an attack does come. That will include prompt notification to you as clients. It will include notifying the appropriate authorities, and it'll include many other items on the back end to make sure that your data is immediately protected and your accounts are immediately protected as well. And then finally, we also have all of our data backed up so that if we were to suffer an attack, we could restore service very quickly without any of you missing a beat. In addition, we have cybersecurity insurance to make sure we have the resources to remediate any potential loss that may come through a cybersecurity attack. So what can you do to protect yourselves? A couple of the obvious ones don't usually get implemented, and we would encourage you to think about strong passwords, using a password locker. At Cutler, we use LastPass, but 1Password and other vendors are out there that can help you have long passwords without having to remember long passwords. Two-factor authentication should be on for your bank accounts, your social media accounts, and your email accounts at a minimum. We would encourage you to put them everywhere, but those three are the big ones that are important for you to do. And then phishing awareness. Take a deep breath. Think about whether or not a client, a friend, a vendor sent you this. Did your kids really send you an attachment? We had an example very recently where somebody got an email from their spouse from the correct email address, but had an attachment that was malicious. You need to think for a moment before you open something, and when in doubt, do the thing we all hate to do, pick up the phone and call them. Is this really what you sent me? Have you been hacked, and are you now potentially exposing me as well? So, basics of making sure you protect yourself are just the simple things that we keep hearing, but your password cannot be password 1. It probably shouldn't be your cat's name. How about your child's birthday? Maybe not a great choice as well. These are all things easy to find out on the internet. Speaking about kids, have you looked to see what's happening with your kids and your grandkids? Are they safe on the internet? Has their information already been maliciously used by bad doers? 15, 16, and 17-year-old kids might have already had credit card accounts opened in their name, and you never think to check it. If I think about the example of my own 2 kids, when I went and checked if I was exposed on the April 8th attack, one of my 2 actually was as well. And he immediately went and locked his own accounts with the 3 credit unions. He went and tried to clean up his information on the internet. He is a 19-year-old who already had been found out by bad doers on the internet. And he was able to protect himself. Now, the 17-year-old needs a little bit more work. I have to prove that I'm his father. I have to prove who he is. It takes a couple of more steps. But is it worth it to have a kid with potentially bad credit going into college because they weren't able to protect themselves? So take a moment, think about what's happening with your kids, your grandkids, your neighbors, your friends, and help them, encourage them to do something to make sure that they are also safe on the internet. So what do you do if you have been hacked? If your credit is already exposed, or the credit for your children or grandchildren is exposed? First, if you haven't already locked your credit, this is your 3rd reminder: lock your credit with the various credit agencies. Second, call the financial institutions you work with. Cutler and the custodians we work with have seen examples time and time again of clients who have been hacked. In those cases, we are prepared to institute policies that will change your account numbers and help protect you. In addition, we'll spend time watching your accounts to make sure that they don't have any unusual activity. We are here to protect you, but we can only do it if you let us know. And then finally, the Federal Trade Commission has a website about steps that you can take. We would encourage you to go there, learn about those steps and the things that you need to do to clean your credit and make sure that you don't have any financial losses from an attack. Thank you for coming to hear about cybersecurity. As we've discussed over the last couple of minutes, this is an important topic that we hope you spend some time thinking about, not only for you, but for your loved ones, and making sure that they are protected as well as you are on the internet. Cutler takes cybersecurity incredibly seriously. We train on it, we have insurance for it. We think about this internally on nearly a daily basis. We do that so that you don't have to, so that you feel secure in knowing that we will be transparent with you, we will work to protect you, and if there is anything that comes up, we will communicate that right away. You may have questions after this video. I would encourage you to reach out to any of our advisors or contact me directly. I'm happy to work with you to answer any questions, make sure that you're comfortable with the steps that you can take to protect yourself. And once again, thank you for being a Cutler client, and thank you for stopping by.